Hey guys, welcome to the I Hope They Hear This podcast. And we have a very special guest with us today. Very professional equipment there. And I'm assuming it's because uh, our next guest or our guest is a musician and a podcast host himself. Please welcome Mr. Andy Shin. What's up, bro?
Woo!
So,
What's going on, everybody?
um, is it, can I call you the host of Black Courier podcast or are you one of the hosts?
I am the host and creator of the podcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't want to get
Mhm.
your other folks mad by calling you the host, but
Oh
okay,
no,
that's cool.
they're yeah, not to say I'm above them or anything. We're all colleagues, we're all equals. But yeah, I did create it, and I am the official host.
Okay, yeah. Let's just jump into that and talk about that because the two main things I wanted to talk to you about is music, obviously as academics, and kind of the
Hmm.
more recent thing that you're doing is hosting the Black Courier podcast. I'm a big fan, by the way. I've been listening. I
Thank
think
you.
I, I I might have missed the most recent one, but I think I've
Uh-huh.
listened to every episode. And the concept is really intriguing for me because it's called Black Korea, and the idea
Hmm.
is kind of creating a space to share cultural information about Koreans and
Right.
like African Americans, right? So you want to kind of
Hmm.
talk about how you thought of doing this podcast?
Yeah. So there's this guy named Raf, a friend of mine, and he runs like a network of podcasts. His is a dead end hip hop. So that's how it all started. So he wanted to start like different podcasts within that network, and he was asking me like, is there anything? I guess he wanted to engage the Asian demographic. So he was like, do you have any ideas? And then I was just throwing some stuff out. Like, I think it'd be pretty cool if we got, black people and Korean people. If there was like something to bridge that gap, especially with hip hop and how everything's going on right now. And do you know the song Black Korea?
Yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
so
Ice Cube, right?
right. So
Hmm.
that song is actually like a hate song towards Korean people from
Right.
like back in the day, which I mean, I'm sure he's not like that now, but
Mhm.
it's kind of where I got the name off of too. And that's I don't know how many episodes we're on right now. I want to say at least 50,
Oh wow.
at least.
Mhm.
Yeah, so we're pretty consistent. We're getting pretty good amount of views and listens, and yeah, so that's where we're at right now.
So yeah, the for those of you who don't know, the song Black Korea was written after the LA riots, right?
Correct.
And there, I mean, you can look into that, but there was just a lot of just racial tension between the Koreans and the Black community building up, and it kind of culminated in the LA riots, the looting and the violence back and forth. So the content of the song Black Korea itself is Ice Cube really just venting his frustration toward the Korean community.
Hmm.
I think a verse of that is kind of like those Korean shopkeepers like giving me like shady eyes as I'm walking through their shop and things like that, right?
Right, right. Hmm.
So, what was the motivation to starting the podcast to kind of ease those tensions?
So honestly, for me, it was I was going to give up my music career, but I still wanted to create something. Like I needed to
Mm,
be doing something. So I was like, let's try this podcasting out. And me being a rapper, doing quote unquote black music, good way to get into it. Um, so yeah, I mean, initially we started out as like trying to bridge that gap, right? Talking about cultural differences and how we view each other, how this and that, the other, the different definition of racism and all that stuff, right? Right now, so kind of in the middle of like our season of Black Korea, like we kind of reared off and we turned into kind of like a TMZ almost. Like
mm,
we just talked about like current events because honestly we're running out of topics. There's only so much you can talk about. But every now and then, that juicy topic will come out. But yeah, initially that's what I wanted. I wanted unity, pretty much, a better understanding of each other,
mm,
because there's a lot of times when you know we view black people without us even knowing like in a very ignorant way, and vice versa. And I wanted to, yeah, just kind of bridge that gap so people could just be a little bit more knowledgeable of each other.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hmm.
and you know, even though you guys are kind of doing the celebrity hot takes or whatever you want to call it, I still
Hmm.
appreciate that you guys kind of dialogue back and forth.
Hmm.
When the other hosts don't really know why Asians do something a certain way, they'll just be like, "Hey, Andy, like by the way, why do you guys think about this in this way?" And then you
Right.
can say, "Yeah, as a Korean representative, you can say, well, we do this because of this," and like a
Right.
dialogue kind of forms around that, and then you kind of share the knowledge of each other's cultures, and I think I really appreciate that. I
Right. And then
Mhm.
go ahead.
Because I was gonna say the most recent thing was you guys were talking about Masked Singer,
Hmm.
and you were kind of surprised that it was here in America. And I don't know if a
Right.
lot of people know that that show originated in Korea, and like
Hmm.
Fox bought the rights of it from NBC, and that's how they like were producing it. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff that people don't know. And the reason we can kind of feed off of each other like that is because we kind of have this rule where it's like nobody really gets mad at each other, even if things get really heated.
Mm,
It's like we like to think of it as like a basketball game, you know, when you're going at it with each other, like you're gonna be smack talking, you're gonna be competitive. And then the game's over.
sorry.
We
Hold
can
on.
kind of feed off of each other, but
Okay.
I mean, at times though, man, like we get so frustrated, or I get so frustrated with each other too. Like, dang, dude, this is so like ignorant of what you're thinking, but they're thinking the same thing about me too, you know. But that's all. That's what it's all about, you know. It's all part of the learning process.
Yeah, and also it's because too you're the only Korean host, right? And there are like three other people who are all black. So there's probably kind of an imbalance. Well, I don't want to say an imbalance, but there's just more representation on that side of it, and it's kind of you holding down the fort by
Right.
yourself.
You're right. Yeah. So it's kind of another Korean host back.
Mhm.
So it's a little bit more balanced out now, but we talked about that too, man. It's like it's not Black Korea anymore. It's just Black and Andy right now. So we got to figure out how we're gonna go about this, you know. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that was a challenge for me because I'm not that great of a speaker. There's always times where like, man, I wish I said this, I wish I said that. I'm sure you're like that too, you know.
Mhm.
Um, but and I'm supposed to be the Korean representative, you know, and I don't want to let down the Korean community, you
Right.
know, but yeah, we're working on it, on the balance.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you kind of a insider question, because there was a point during the Black Korea run where you guys took kind of a hiatus,
Hmm.
and I think it was KP who said he made a comment about he made a comment that almost made it seem like you didn't really want to do the podcast, but you came back to continue the podcast. Can you tell
Hmm.
us what was happening during that time? Yeah.
Yeah. So if this is what I'm thinking about, I think this is what it is. There was just a lot going on. So I was working. I'm school full time, and I think the biggest thing was like it was just too much on my plate. Too much on my plate, and I wasn't feeling the how the direction of the podcast was going. So I was asking myself, this is really what I really want to do. The biggest thing was, so I'm currently married now, but during that time, me and my girl, we were still in a long distance relationship, and we were in a really rough chapter in our relationship. Like we were fighting a lot. My mom is like the Korean tiger mom, where because I'm an only child, you know, and
Right.
like she was just giving her crap, and like I was going through a lot, like, and I actually wanted to talk to you about this because um I didn't know your podcast was so consistent.
Mhm.
I didn't know you were doing it so consistently, but I was really depressed and I had crazy anxiety attacks.
Mm.
I've never had that, but I just stumbled upon when you and Andy Hung were talking about anxiety, And I was like, dude, this is so spot on. Like, this is exactly what I'm going through. I remember I hit you up about it.
Right.
Um, but yeah, man, like, I mean, I don't want to say I was suicidal, but like, it kind of crossed my mind. And I would never do that, you know what I'm saying? But like, it was just a lot on my heart and a lot on my plate, and I was just tired. I didn't know what to do, but I kind of snapped out of it, and that's when I came back from that hiatus.
Do you feel like you're in a better place with regards to your anxiety and things like that?
Yes.
Oh, that's
Just
great.
because a lot has calmed down. My mom's not acting all crazy anymore. My girl's here physically now, so we're not fighting as much. Granted, we've only been together, living together for like 2 months, but
Hmm.
you know, things are pretty good right now.
Yeah, I will say that part of marriage, one of the most difficult things is the melding of the two families. Like
Hmm.
when me and Shirley got married, the most difficult part was trying to appease both sides of the family when it came to the actual like wedding ceremony and what we were going to do after and all that kind of stuff. And I actually wanted to
Hmm.
ask you about that because you guys are married on paper now. Were you guys able to hold like a ceremony?
No,
Right.
so yeah, man, it's crazy how things just work, and me still being a Christian man, I'm just like, let go and let God. Like, He's got it under control, but it's frustrating. But yeah, so um, because of the coronavirus, we're like, okay, you have to come here because of our visa. If this waits any longer and you're not able to come in at all, like this visa could expire, and then we could have to push this back for another year or two.
Mm,
So she came in. Um, we got married on paper like the first or second week that she got here.
mm.
I got my apartment, got my, all this stuff ready. But and our wedding was supposed to be on the 18th of this month.
Wow.
So we had to push that back. Where we pushed it back to November. And you know, the thing with that though is like the visa needs to come out before then because she needs to be able to leave the US and come back. So there's a chance that we might have to push it back again and we lose a deposit. But we got, yeah, we're married on paper. We had like a small thing for like just for picture purposes for
Mm.
the visa, just for proof.
Right, right.
So, my local church at Promise Church is just me, my girl, and my pastor just, signed off and took a picture with us and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So,
this is gonna be yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
what you were saying? Hmm?
this is gonna be a crazy story. Like if I have kids, like this is what we went through with the
Mhm.
coronavirus.
So when you say you pushed it back to November, is that you guys are gonna do like the main ceremony in Korea? Is that what you guys are planning?
Yeah.
Mm.
So the
Yeah.
ceremony was always gonna be in Korea. Um, I I thought about having one here just for like, my homies,
Mm.
but I mean, I'm sure man, like the wedding planning stresses is like I don't know if I can do that twice,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. So I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. No, I think what you should do, to just like please your friends, just do like a small gathering. Don't do the
Yeah,
whole wedding thing. It's way too stressful. Yeah.
yeah, man. This is
Yeah.
gonna be crazy. I have so much respect for anybody who went through this. Like I
Mm.
totally get it. But
Mm.
yeah. And I thought I was the only one. I was like, dude, like, am I not supposed to get married? Like, is this supposed to be this hectic, But all my married friends were like, dude, this is nothing. Like, and I hear their stories. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is pretty normal.
Yeah, yeah. I think me and Shirley, we fought. I mean, including our dating like period and our marriage, everything put together, we probably fought the most during the wedding planning. So it's,
Dude, didn't you want to die? Like, it was
dude,
the worst.
every weekend I considered literally just flying us out to Vegas to get eloped. Like, and it was like I was literally looking at my bank account, like, okay, I'm gonna do it this week. I'm gonna get the flights. But
Right. No, I totally get it, man. It's tough. I don't think like this is why you can't get married twice.
mm.
Just stay married with one person. You can't do this again.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay, so yeah, with kind of going back to the podcast, you talked about how the original vision was kind of, yeah, men melding the two cultures together and creating that dialogue. Now you guys are more kind of like you talked about TMZ style, talking about current events and things like that. Do you have kind of forward vision of what you hope and plan the podcast to be like in the future, or are you kind of okay with kind of staying the
Um,
course?
so as a podcast as a whole, I'm not sure, but for me individually, what
Mm,
I want and what I'm struggling with is, so I am a Christian, not the best Christian. Um, I'm working on it, and I really need to work on it, and I think this is something huge I have, where I can, kind of not per se spread the gospel, but like, spread a little bit of Christianity through my actions or through my words.
mhm,
So that's what I have in mind for the future, what I'm saying?
mm,
Like, because I curse a lot on the podcast. I'm talking like, I'm just very straightforward and but I feel like I kind of quote unquote sold myself for entertainment to just entertain the listeners, but I feel like I kind of get back grounded with the God thing.
mm. Wait, but I mean,
Yeah.
to your credit though, I will say that when kind of the dicier topics come up, I think at one point it was about abortion. You do stand
Hmm.
your ground. Kind of, even if you're not able to articulate it in the moment, like you
Right.
never say, "Oh, actually, right." Then I agree with you. I think abortion is okay. Like that's I really respected you for that because you never
Hmm.
got to that point.
Hmm.
Although you did like even if you did get to the point of, well, I'm not able to kind of articulate it fully right now, but you never kind of you never conceded, right? So I mean, right there, I think that's great.
Really? Yeah. I mean, that's good to hear because all my coasts are like, dude, you keep switching your mind up. I'm like, no, I'm just saying, like, I understand where you're coming from,
Yeah, no, and I think that's one thing that I want to tell everyone, and I want to make sure everyone understands is even as podcast hosts, we have a mind that can be influenced.
Hmm.
So even if we say something at one point, if we get new information, we can change our mind, right?
Right.
So I think admitting that you can change your mind is a humble thing, and it's like it's a human thing. So even if you kind of go back and forth, I think that's normal, and that's just a human quality that we all have. So
Yeah.
I
I
wouldn't
think that
stress too
comes with
much.
age. Yeah.
Mm,
I think that comes with age too, because like, you have to be able to have an open mind, what I'm saying? Like you can't be just in your own head all the time. Like that's kind of stupid, you're not going to learn anything that way.
right.
So that's what I try. I always try to keep an open mind. But yeah, I'm glad you caught that though.
Yeah.
'Cause I
Yeah.
got a lot of comments about
Mm.
that.
Well, last question about the podcast.
Yeah. Hmm.
This might be a controversial one, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Okay.
Why do you hate Beyonce?
Dang, dude, this comes out here too. So,
I have to ask it, man.
I don't hate Beyonce.
Mm,
It's just I think I said she was overrated on my podcast, which
mm,
I definitely should not say that because she's definitely not. She's very talented. Her shows are crazy. She's
mm,
a true artist and musician. But it's just I don't like me personally, I don't like her style of voice.
mm,
And that's just like my taste. You know what I'm
mm.
saying? Like it's a very powerful she does that thing, if that makes sense. If I were a boy, that thing.
Yeah.
I'm more of like I like the Mariah Carey voice.
Mm,
It's just not my cup of tea, but not saying that I hate her.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's just funny to me that because I remember when you first said it, I remember thinking, wow, this is going to be one of those things where it always comes back and they're going to always talk about it
Gonna
and give
come
you
back at
crap
me.
for it. Yeah. And like, I think it did in the
Yep.
most, yeah, yeah. It comes up every now and again. I think it's hilarious. I
I'm
like it.
I'm gonna stand my ground.
Okay. So let's shift gears a little bit. And I wanted to talk to you about your music career because you have a
Hmm.
very long, very like it's not just a single laned music career. I remember, I think I still have the very first track that you. Well, I don't know if this is the first track, but this was one of the first tracks that you showed me when you were
Mhm.
still going by Southside's Finest. Like when you
Oh
were in like,
man,
what
yo,
was this, middle school, high school? This was way back in the day, right?
Southside's Finest. Oh my God, I totally forgot about that. That was like I think I was like freshman year in high school or something like that.
Yeah, super early on, and like since then, I mean, you go by academics now. You were in like you were in two audition programs in Korea, right?
Yeah. So okay, so Southside's Finest academics. I should just go by my legal name now. So it's just Andy Shin now.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I was on um K-pop Star 1 and Superstar K4. This
Wow.
was like 8 years ago now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And yeah, can you just kind of explain to us your whole like how you got there, how that impacted your music career and maybe even your life?
Yeah. So I was musically active, put out mixtapes, doing shows here and there, but I felt like just kind of stuck, you know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So the biggest thing was the Yellow Boys.
Mm.
So shout out to Pass. Um, like they went to Superstar K3, I think, and they caused this crazy, like they went viral, you know.
Right.
Um, but I was like, damn, man, like maybe I could do this too, But that's when Unique One started, our production company, and me and Hunmin Tiny were like, let's try this K-pop star thing out. We made it pretty far. Granted, we never like came on TV. I think I came on for like 3 seconds or something like that. But it was a great experience, And I was like, dude, if I can make it this far, I must have some sort of talent. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm
Mm.
not just like, just any rapper. But after we failed, the very next year, I was like, I'm gonna do this again. So I went to Superstar K with two other members. Um, and so we went as a group as three people, and then I'm the only one that got picked. So I'm the only one that went to Korea. And I was like, again, I was like, hey, maybe I have something here. Met a lot of people. Um, it set my standards higher too, because I saw a lot of talented people, and I was like,
Mm.
dude, there's like 500 people here, and they all can sing, and they're so good, and they're all young. Um, but yeah, I mean, ever since then, I think I came out with an album after that, and that was kind of my when I came back after Superstar K, things got really dark too. Like, I was on a lot of drugs. Um, I did a lot of Molly. I think my last album, I was on Molly the entire album.
Wow.
Yeah, I was just in a really dark place. Um, and then fast forward to about, my last music video I dropped like last year.
Mm.
Like between that time I went back to church and took God seriously, and I was, saved again. Um, and I was like, academics was cool, but I consider academics kind of like my bad half, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Like if I get drunk, that's academics. That's not
Mm.
me. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm.
like, and I'm older now too. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to be a 30-year-old walking around people calling me academics. Um, but I mean, that's still pretty cool. But I mean, I think I'm just in a different place now. I'm older. I'm a little bit wiser. Um, and I feel like I want to do something with my music to like help people
Mm.
now. Not just talk about drugs, partying, and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Eh,
so boring old man Andy Shin now.
No, but your latest music video, your latest song was, it really does embody what you were talking about. The title itself is Sanctification, right? So,
Hmm.
I mean, what was that really just like your attempt at saying, okay, I'm done with, whatever the bad side of me was, and I want to try to kind of propel the good side of me. Was that the motivation for the song?
Um, kind of. So I wanted to show people that I changed.
Mm.
like I consider myself like a totally different person now from what I was from 8 years ago.
Wow.
Um, and I truly believe that, um, like I love the word sanctification. Like things aren't going to get easier; they're only going to get harder. And how tough are you going to get in that process? You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
But yeah, that I guess that was. And I didn't want to be a like a Christian rapper either, if that
right.
makes sense.
Right.
Because not to crap on Christian rappers, but like I just can't get into the yo, God is my savior. It's just it makes me cringe a little bit. So I wanted to keep my own flavor, but at the same time still talk about God, if that
Right.
makes sense. Kind of
Right.
like a NF. Like I found out who NF was. I was like, dude, this guy's crazy.
Oh, I don't know who that is. Oh, is
You
he
should
a
look.
Christian?
You should look him up. Yeah,
Mm.
he's a Christian rapper, but he talks about some really dark stuff. He's really dark music, but it's just really good.
Yeah, no, I think I forget who made the comment. It might have been Lecrae. He's kind of famously a Christian rapper, but he doesn't really like that label either. I think whenever people ask him about it, or like, "Are you a Christian rapper?" I think his response is always, "I am a rapper who is Christian. So my Christianity
Right,
influences my music." But like
right,
he says, and I think Jin the MC, I mean, he's kind of like a Christian rapper too now,
right.
but I remember him saying no one calls Snoop Dogg like a weed rapper because that's like all he talks
Yeah,
about. Like he's just a rapper who talks about a certain subject a lot. So
right.
I can really I can understand why you wouldn't want that label.
Yeah.
I see. Do you have plans?
Because
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
um, do I have plans? I'm honestly like I'm so busy. Like
Mm,
being like I'm still going to school. I'm trying to finish school, and then I'm back at work. So, but I still work on music. So my last project that was actually supposed to be my. I'm going to stop. I'm going to just go big with this one, and I'm done. But I think any musician could agree that once you start, you can never stop. I don't know what it is. So I'm not as active right now, but um, I am working on music here and there because I still want to share, I want to create, and I can't stop that. But yeah, so I might have a few projects here and there come out in the future,
yeah, man.
probably this year.
I I always hate to see when you say things like I'm not going to do music anymore, especially because you're so talented. So
Thank
if
you,
this if my words have any sway, I want to encourage you to keep making music. Yeah, because I mean,
thank
like
you, thank
sanctification
you.
was so great, right? And you kind of like you were saying it was supposed to be your sign off, but like how can you sign off after you've created something so great, right?
Right, and man, it sucks because I wanted like 10,000 views on that video, and
Mm.
it got like 3,000, which is still really good. But I was like, damn, man, I really wanted this one to blow up, but I'm still thankful.
Yeah,
But yeah,
no,
I'm not. I don't think I'm gonna stop.
that's great. That's really good to hear. So
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to ask you about because your wife, she grew up in Korea. I mean, she's a
Hmm.
straight up Korean, right?
Right. Right.
So did you meet her during the time when you were kind of going back and forth with the audition programs, or was that something
No.
separate?
So we've been together about 4 years or five, something like that.
Mhm.
But she she came to visit America with her sister. And do you know Esther Kim?
I do
My
not.
friend Esther Kim. No, okay. So this girl named Esther, she's a really good friend of mine. But they're cousins. So they were doing like this tour. They went to LA to New York, and then they came to Atlanta to see Esther. And it was their last day in America. They're gonna go back to Korea.
Hmm.
So Esther hit me up saying like, "Yo, my cousins are here. Let's just go out bowling." I'm like, "Okay." I didn't think anything of it. I was like, "Okay, I'm just here to see your family, whatever." But I had the hots for her sister at first.
Okay.
Um, but there was just no connection. She was just pretty. My girl's pretty too. Don't
Right.
get me wrong.
Yeah.
But um, but the funny thing is, my girl had the hots for me. So it was like this weird thing going on. But at the end of the night, I don't know what it was, but something clicked and I was like, dang, this girl's really cute,
Mm,
my girl. And I was like, and then I talked to her. I was like, can you stay for one more day? Like, I'll show you around because you didn't really get to do anything. But she had to go on a retreat with her church that week. So I was like, dang, but she was really considering it too. But then we kept in contact while she left. And I went to Korea. I remember she got mad at me once too because she was like, we're talking and this and that, but what are we? Like, are you my boyfriend? I don't know what to tell people. But I was like, I wasn't sure if I could do a long distance relationship.
mm,
Like I told myself I would never date another Korean girl or
mm.
like a fob Korean girl. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Because I'm so Americanized. But I went to go visit Korea. Oh no. She came to visit me for 3 months. And I was like, okay, that's a pretty big move. And
Wow.
then I went to go visit her, and I was like, okay, I can't do this long distance relationship. That's when I made it official. Fast forward, I proposed. Now we're married.
And so correct me if I'm wrong, but I like when I like knew you, like when we were going to church together and stuff,
Hmm.
your Korean wasn't bad, but it wasn't great either, right?
Right.
Do you how how did that happen? Because now you're, typing up straight up like paragraphs in Korean and like when did that
I
kind of
got
happen?
Yeah. So my Korean got really good when I was doing the audition shows.
Mm,
Yeah, because I was there for like I pretty much lived there for half a year.
wow.
And when you're trying to hit on girls, man, you can't text in English. You got to do it somehow. And you're forced to learn the language when you're there. When you're simple as like ordering food. So that's when I leveled up in Korean. But definitely, you know, while I was dating my girl or my wife, and constantly talking to her, that's when I got really good.
Wow, so you almost need to be thankful for those like addition programs that you went on for
Oh
your marriage,
yeah.
huh? Mm,
Hmm.
wow. And
It's kind of crazy. Like this is like all God's vision, right? It's all this huge big story that happened.
yeah. Wow, that's awesome. And do
Yeah.
you find it difficult now to because I'm assuming your wife doesn't speak much English. Is there any difficulties like with communication or things like that?
Yeah. So when we fight, right? Like I'm good, but like because we have to speak Korean. That's our language at home.
Right.
But there's so many things that I want to say, but that I can't. So it's really like tap.
Yeah.
But more so, not even that. It's the cultural difference too. Like as Korean, as Korean that we think we are really not.
Mm,
Like there's a Korea mindset, and then there's like a Kyopo mindset, and then there's just like a regular ABC mindset. So we fought a lot about that too, and like had a lot of conversations. Like, why do you do this? It's like I don't know. Like, why do you do that? Which is like any other marriage, really. But
right.
you know, there's a different standard, which I honestly think she can't hear me. I honestly think it's girls need to stop watching dramas, dude. Like I think it puts this expectation on men, and
Y- I think there's also even kind of a fantasy of American husband. There might be kind of people romanticize the idea of marrying a Korean guy who grew up in America because it's like
I don't
exotic and indifferent.
I don't know what that is though. Like I hear that a lot, and I can see why that would be true, but I don't know what that fantasy would be.
I mean, like America's the land of opportunity, so they made it. Or I don't know. I'm just guessing, but
I guess, but she does find it attractive when I speak English. I think that's a
mm,
plus.
yeah,
And
there you go.
like when we speak Korean, because we're both pretty good, but like to a person that came straight from Korea, like they can tell.
Mm,
So they find it cute. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? So
yeah,
I think that's a pretty big plus to have too.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, no. When I go to Korea, so my brother lives in Korea, so I try to visit.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, he's in Incheon. He's married and he
Oh,
has like two kids. He's
Oh shoot.
yeah, he's straight up planted roots there. But yeah,
Wow.
whenever I visit, I feel like I'm pretty good at Korean while I'm here, but when I go there, doing
It
even just simple things like ordering food, I
is
realize how
so
bad I am.
fast. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, it's so fast. And like they use these words. I'm like, what? I don't know that word.
Yeah, like in my mind, I'm like, well, you could have just said that in a simpler way. Why did you have to throw in all this slang and all this advanced vocabulary? So no, I totally understand what you're
Yeah.
saying. So yeah, so it sounds like you're kind of settled now. You've gone through certain periods of like anxiety, depression, and things like that. Do you have any advice for people currently going through some of the things that you went through, like 8 years ago, to help them kind of come out uh, on the other side of it?
Um, I would have to say that a good community is so important. Um,
Mhm.
if the people are, you know, even if they're your homeboys and you guys are mad close, like if it's just not a good squad to be around, um, you know, find a healthy, wholesome community that'll help you grow spiritually, and emotionally. And you've as hard as that it is now, if you hit rock bottom, the only place you can go now is up.
Mhm.
And I know that's just hard to just, it's easy to say, what I'm saying, but like you really just have to tough through it. Um and the podcast, your podcast, the Nabi Effect podcast, um,
Navi design, yeah.
Nabi Design Yet.
Mhm.
The So that actually helped me get through it.
Wow.
So like, yeah, it really did. Cause man, dude, can I talk about this real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so this was like earlier this year. Like I was when I texted you,
Mhm.
like my I didn't think I thought anxiety attacks were all a bunch of crap. I was like, dude, you're just weak and you need to snap out of it. But when I went through it, I was like, man, this is crazy. Like I'm tired all the time. I don't want to get out of bed. I'm mad depressed. I can't eat. I don't want to see anybody. Um, I was shaking. My heart was racing. Um, I was like, dude, and as hard as things were, I was like, dude, I just want to die. Like,
Mm.
if I were to die, like, I don't have to worry about any of this. Like, I just wanted to be over. And I mean, granted, like I said, I'm not suicidal, and that's never the answer. But who's that pastor at Saddleback? What's his name?
No, it's not Tim. Let me look
Is
it up.
it? Didn't he write that book, Purpose Driven Life?
Uh, Let me look it up. Actually, purpose-driven life. Oh yeah, Rick Warren.
Rick
Yeah.
Warren, yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So I don't know why, but like I was watching a lot of his sermons, and like he had this suicide video on YouTube where he was like, "No, don't do it. This is like, it's just a overall." He's just saying this is a pretty shit decision you're gonna make, you know, um, because it doesn't just hurt you; it hurts everybody else around you, and it makes everything that much harder. Um, but then what really helped me was when you were you on Andy Young's podcast talking about it?
Women like about
The anxiety.
suicide.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, so when you were talking, I was like, no, every single word you were saying, I was like, dude, this is exactly like every single word you were saying. I was like, this is exactly what I'm going through right now.
Mm,
So I had to text you. I had to text him. Like I was like this. It wasn't a coincidence.
mm.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, that helped me get through it a lot. So thank you, David, and thank you, Andy, if you're listening. Um, but yeah, um, yeah, just don't give up, I guess.
Yeah.
Like just I know it sucks, but you really have to tough through it and things will get better.
Mm,
Like, yeah, you made it this far. The only place you can go up is up now.
yeah. I think for both of us, when we were going through kind of our anxiety time periods, like for me, it really did help when I was talking to Andy Young about it. and just to kind of get it out there, to verbalize like what I'm going through, I think that in and of itself was really helpful. And I did get a lot of feedback from a lot of other people saying,
Really?
wow, I'm going through something very similar.
Really?
Yeah, it's actually very prevalent amongst Asian Americans, like second generation Korean Americans, people in our kind of life stage. A lot of them are going through very similar things.
It's a lot
um
of pressure, man.
for sure, for
It's
sure.
it's it's a lot of pressure. Like, cause you're not Korean, you're not American, you're right dab in the middle,
Mm.
and you have this Korean mindset and morals, whereas you have the free American mind, and it's a mess, dude. Like, dang, I didn't know so many people were affected like that, though.
Yeah, yeah. I forget who I talked to about this, but it might have been with Andy Young again. But we were talking about how with the Eastern culture from our Korean side, we're taught to think about family above all, right? Like
Right.
we do what's good for the family, but we come here to America, and we're being taught, well, you got to be happy yourself. You got to think about the individual. So there's a clash of two ideas that's happening just all the time that we're probably internalizing.
Right.
So yeah, I'm not surprised at all that people like us are going through things like this. But I think there's comfort in knowing that there are others like us and that we're kind of
Right.
going through it together. Like you went through it, I went through it. If you guys are listening and you guys went through it, please just know that yeah, we're all going through it together. We're all going to be better for it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Hit me up, man. I'll talk to you.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm
Andy,
saying?
Andy's really good to talk to. I
Yeah.
love this guy. So, and I mean, me too. And even Andy, and I'm sure Andy Hung, he would
Right.
be willing to talk to you about that as well. So, yeah. Was there? Oh, I did want to talk about one thing.
Okay.
Because like you were saying on your podcast, you do. I mean, everyone there, curse words isn't really a restricted thing, right? You guys freely curse. And on my podcast, it's not that I don't allow it, it's just
Mm-hmm.
I don't personally curse that much, and the people
Right.
that I have on don't. I think at this point now, it's like when people come on, they kind of feel like they can't curse. Did you
Uh-huh.
kind of feel that way when we started talking, or?
Uh, yes and no, because I know you wouldn't mind, but it's something I'm trying to work on personally anyway.
Mhm.
So, because dude, nobody likes listening to that.
Mhm.
It's you don't sound like a smart person. It's just not attractive. So I
Yeah,
don't want to. I don't want to do that. And this is a very wholesome setting that I feel like I'm in. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
see.
yeah, that's something I'm actually trying to work on. But I didn't really feel like that really, because I
Gotcha.
feel like knowing you, um, you would accept me for whether no matter what.
Yeah.
So I feel comfortable either way.
Okay. Yeah, just making sure because I remember so Kit Song was on. Well, no, when I had John Hyung on, John Song, Jules, I
Uh huh.
remember him saying, am I allowed to curse?" And I
Yeah.
remember saying, "Hyung, go for it. I mean, if you want to, it's fine." But I think he still kind of felt like he shouldn't, so he didn't on
Right.
our podcast.
Shout out to Jules.
Yeah, but I actually wanted to take this opportunity to tell my listeners why I don't curse personally. And it's not like a moralistic thing or anything like that. I think
Yeah.
there is a lot of power in words. And
Yes.
I want to be like, when I drop the F bomb, I want people to like stop and pause. Like, oh, things
Mm,
got serious. Like he dropped the F bomb.
mm,
Like I want to give it that power. So like I haven't like I mean I don't really curse in my regular everyday life. And that's because I'm saving it for when I really need to. So that when
right.
I do say something, people like take notice and they actually take
Yeah.
it to heart. Yeah.
It's kind of like yeah. It's kind of like the guy at church that's just really nice and you just can't hate.
Hmm.
You know, But when he gets mad, it's like, oh damn, like
Yeah.
shit got real, bro.
Yeah.
Like this is serious, you know.
Yeah.
No, I totally get it. I actually I agree with that. Words have a lot of power, and there's so many other words that can describe your feelings, you know,
Yeah.
to get your point across. You know, I got to work on that too. Actually,
Yeah.
I curse a lot on my podcast. I really need to stop.
Oh, do you guys know when the next episode is dropping? I know with the whole coronavirus, you guys haven't been able to record, but are there
I'm
plans
gonna be
for?
I'm gonna be totally honest with you.
Hmm.
I don't want to listen to my own podcast. So till this day, I haven't listened to a single podcast that I've made,
Hmm.
and because of that, I don't know when things drop.
I see. I see.
So I'm just there. Yeah, I don't know why. Like I feel like it might mess with my creativity,
Hmm.
if that makes sense, or like I might change the way I talk or whatever. But like I just want her to be real, so I don't. I honestly don't know. But we are recording regularly for the past like
Mm.
month. So yeah.
I totally relate to that. I don't really like listening to my podcast either. I actually get mad at my wife when she listens to it while I'm in the room.
Yeah. It's like, dude, stop. Turn that
Yeah,
shit off.
no, I don't want to listen to it. Yeah, so for me though, I think it's because I don't know what it is. I don't like the sound of my voice recorded.
Oh, you're one of those people.
Yeah, and it might have a little like I don't want to get in my own head.
Right.
Like I'll pick up something about the way that I do something,
And go
and
way too deep into it.
exactly,
Yep. Yep.
yeah,
I totally get it, man. Like, I think we're kind of similar in that sense where like we just think way too much.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like me, honestly, I'm very insecure.
Mm.
I don't know about you,
Oh, I'm
but I'm
extremely.
very yeah, I'm so insecure. So as I put up this front of like happy Andy, you know what I'm saying? Like wild Andy, you know, but dude, I'm so insecure. I think way too deep into things. I think that might have caused my depression, man, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
But yeah, I totally understand that, man.
yeah. I think podcasters. I don't know if there's any podcaster out there that actually does listen to themselves. Let us know because I'd be interested to see how many of us or how many podcasters out there don't listen to themselves versus how many that listen to themselves. I think that'd be an
Right.
interesting
Hmm.
statistic to get a hold of. Was there anything that we were going to talk about that I missed?
Uh, not really. I hope I was a good guest and I was interesting enough to listen to.
Dude, honestly, just Andy Shin, who doesn't know you in the Atlanta area? I'm sure people are going to be very excited to see that you're on the podcast.
I hope so. I'm still interesting, guys.
You are relevant. You are interesting and very relevant.
Thank you.
Um, I mean, and I know you said that you are planning on doing music and all that, but are there any dates that you can give us, or any ways to keep updated on new music and things like that?
Yes. So my latest project that I'm working on, I can't give a date on that. But I am planning probably in the next 2 months, possibly
Wow.
2 or 3 months, somewhere around that time. But you can find everything. I'm very active on my Instagram.
Hmm.
So at AKZ Music. Just follow me there. Everything's on there. I post a lot of wild videos,
It's
a
so
lot of
funny.
food,
Yeah.
and a lot of music. But yeah.
Yeah.
We were supposed to do this some organization, but I was supposed to do a show with them too, but because of the coronavirus, we were unable to perform.
Hmm.
Such as a lot of the artists. I think Jennifer was going to be there too. I'm not sure,
Hmm. Wow.
um, but yeah, just follow me on Instagram. Everything should be there.
Yeah, actually, yeah. But before we end, I did want to ask you about that. How has the coronavirus affected you? I mean, obviously, we talked about your marriage situation, but kind of your everyday life. How is it affecting you?
This is honestly, I, I don't want to say this because I know a lot of people are affected like in a bad way, but this is a huge blessing to me.
Mm.
Because I'm still getting paid, and I've been
Wow.
at home for the past 2 months doing nothing.
Wow.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Bless you.
So, and I spend a lot of time with my wife. Granted, she's ready to go out and like do stuff, but I'm a lot more of an introvert than I thought,
Mm.
or than people think. So I don't mind being at home. Um, and I've always told myself that I wish I had a month or like 2 months to just do nothing.
Mm.
And this is like the perfect time. And I'm getting paid, so it's been pretty dope for me, man. Yeah.
How's your hair? As you can see, my hair is like super long.
Oh, my hair. Oh, do you know about my hair?
Mm-mm.
So I have hair loss.
Oh no, actually, yeah, your recent YouTube videos. That's right.
Yeah, I have extreme hair loss, but it all came back. So my hair is pretty good.
Huh.
Um, yeah, it's kind of messed up right now, so I don't want to show it, but yeah, it's not too bad because I got my hair cut by like privately. So
Oh, I see. So you're still able
yeah,
to get your haircut.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Gotcha. Actually, yeah, let's give a plug for that. You kind of reveal. Did you actually reveal it, or
yeah.
the secret to stopping hair loss?
Yes. So I'm on episode 2.
Hmm.
Episode 3 should be coming out for my remedy.
Hmm.
But actually, I really want to talk about that too.
Yeah.
So if you have hair loss, like, let me know because I know how bad it sucks.
Hmm.
And I have something that really worked for me. So yeah, just hit me up, man.
Wow.
I'm
Yeah.
here to I'm here to help.
That's so crazy to think though, because I don't know why. I still feel like whenever I talk to you, I feel like we're still kind of in high school. And the
Yeah.
topic of hair loss is like, and then I realized, oh wait, we're in our 30s now.
Your 30s, dude. Yeah, dude. We're talking in your 2-door Honda Accord right now.
That's right.
Man,
Uh,
it's good times.
very good times. Well, any last words, any last thoughts before we end in this podcast?
Thank you for having me. It's always good. I miss you so much, David.
Yeah,
So
man.
I really don't want to say this lightly, but let's please meet up one day to have dinner or something.
No, for sure. I have to meet your
To all
wife.
the
I
listeners.
haven't
Oh
met her
yeah,
yet.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. To all the listeners, thank you for listening. You can also find my podcast. It's called Black Korea Podcast. Anywhere you can find a podcast. Um, let's keep the peace and spread the love. God bless.
Yeah, and the Black Courier podcast, I definitely recommend it. They do provide a wide variety of perspective on things, so it's very interesting to listen to. Um, I mean, as long as you don't mind explicit language. I just say that
Yes.
because my podcast doesn't have that. So, but guys, if any of what we talked about today with Andy resonated with you, if you have any feedback, please reach out at IHTHT podcast@gmail.com. That's just I hope they hear this, abbreviated, or on Instagram at I hope they hear this, or on Twitter at IHTHT podcast. And the video I will upload to YouTube as well. And again, follow Andy at AKZ Music on Instagram,
Mhm.
and you'll be able to find kind of all his updates on his music. And also follow the Black Korea podcast Instagram. It's just Black Korea podcast, right?
Correct. At Black Korea Podcast.
Yeah, yeah. And to stay updated to the podcast activities. Thank you guys so much for listening. Andy, thank you so much for being on. This was really fun. Now we'll talk to
Thank
you guys
you.
next time. Bye.
Deuces.